Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to cover AutoCAD 3D modeling for our class. As you all know, today is a public holiday, so obviously there's no lab session. And of course, I don't want to have a replacement lab, and neither do you. So I guess the best way is just to have a lab session conducted in a synchronous mode. So yeah, in today's lab, I'm going to cover a basic AutoCAD 3D modeling. We're going to prepare a simple object first, a primitive object like a cubes, spheres, cylinders, and what have you. And after that, we're gonna cover a more complicated objects using applied 3D tools in AutoCAD. So yeah, let's begin. All right, first thing first, obviously this is AutoCAD 3D modeling using computer-aided approach. And of course, we're going to cover primitive shapes, as I told you, as a sphere, box, pyramid, torus, cone, cylinder, wedges. Those are, what I have highlighted here is just a command in AutoCAD. So if you type this, this word, right? This is basically the command for you to prepare primitive shapes. After that, we're going to cover applied shape. Applied shape is basically a more, I would say, a more complicated object that is derived from a simple object. So in this case, let's say you have a holes and whatever, right? So this is where you need to kind of add details to your object using some kind of using a more using 3D tools, 3D features, applied 3D features in AutoCAD. And after that, after you have prepared your drawing, you just need to transfer and arrange your drawing. Arrange first and then transfer them into your title block. But if you already have your own version of a template, then it's much easier. After that, you just choose your views, isometric, northwest, southeast, southwest perspective, parallel, projection, whatever, as long as what appears seems to be nice in your title block. Okay, in terms of like submission, since this is only intended for Wednesday session, so I'm going to give you until 7th of May to submit your work in Tablas. And of course, don't forget to record your attendance on 7th of May 7th of May before 12 midnight. Password, if you want to know password, you have to look through this video carefully because I'm not going to make it easy for you to look for the password. Anyway, let's continue with our AutoCAD training. Well, primitive object. These are the object that I have arranged in AutoCAD earlier. But again, we're going to prepare a 3D basic object. These are called primitive object because these are, I would consider this as a most basic building block for a more complicated object. These are called primitive drawing, primitive object. Sorry, dimensions in millimeters. It's a 3D object, obviously. These are all the basic a command. Let's say, for example, right, if you want to draw cubes, for cubes, if you want to draw cubes, the command is box because cubes and box are box is basically okay. All box are cube, not all cubes are box. If you know what I mean, right? So the general command for you to create a box or cube is box in AutoCAD. The rest are the same: cylinder, a cone, sphere, pyramid, wedges, and torus. Torus is basically a donut shapes here. So you have a two radius. You know what? Let me go over one by one. Cube here is just a cube. L1 is equal to L2 is equal to L3. So it's all of them are 110 millimeters. The box, obviously, you can have all are the same dimension, or they can be two out of three dimension are the same, or all three dimension are not the same. But in this case, I'm gonna use these three dimension. All length, width, and height are not the same at all. 110, 150, 100, and 200. Cylinders, obviously, are just two variables that you need to specify: radius and its height. Sphere, because it is sphere, all they are all the same. So radius, only need to specify one information. Radius. Pyramid, you need to provide information on the base as well as their height. Wedges is this. It's like a rectangle being extruded, so you need to provide length, width and then height of the wedges. Torus is, as I mentioned earlier, is a donut shapes. So in the donut shape, you have two radius. Number one, radius of how big the donut overall are, and the radius number two here is how thick is your donut in a sense. So you need to specify your part number. So you need to decide your drawing number, and you can choose any isometric view that you want. Doesn't really matter, northwest, southeast, southwest, or whichever, as long as it was presented in your title block correctly. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna go over this from start till finish, and then we're gonna revisit them back again later when I do AutoCAD. All right. Apply 3D object. We're gonna prepare this object. Obviously, this is slightly more complicated, but again, if you know your basics, if you know how you want to prepare this, it's quite straightforward. Credit to this object is taken from this website. Credit to them. Of course, these are your object number. Dimensioning is not required. Color up to you. I don't really care what color we use. Black, blue, white, magenta, whatever. And then also add your project number. So obviously you cannot just do this, you know, right away. So you need to prepare a 2D drawing first before you transition to 3D drawing. So in order for you to create this object, first thing first, you need to create this 2D object. So this object is basically this part being extruded by 160 millimeters. And this part, I need to trim this portion, but which I will do later. And this part, I need to trim by 76. The final portion here, I will do later. So as you can see, this object consists of three parts in a sense. The first part is the base, all right? The second part is this part. The third part is this part. So again, you can deconstruct your 3D object. If you want to do a 3D applied 3D object, you can deconstruct them into a much simpler object, which you can do, and then combine them together. The first approach is basically okay. There are two. First of all, there are many ways of doing the same thing. For example, this one, right? You can go with the reduction approach where you simply begin with a box, okay, a box, and then you just simply chip off all of the unwanted details, unwanted materials until it becomes like this. That's the first approach, which I feel not that practical for this particular object, by the way. So the second approach is basically to deconstruct this object into its much simpler and more doable building block. In this case, I have identified one object here, two object here, three object here, and then I can combine them together. So again, you can, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of ways of doing the same thing. This is how it looks like. So again, in your title block, make sure to use a proper scale. But at this point, don't really matter. I would say in terms of like scaling, because this is I would consider this object not drawn to scale. So this is how it looks like in your title block. Feel free to use any color that you want. These are for the first primitive object. For the second part, as long as you can have something like this, would be fine. Again, color up to you. These are the isometric view from southwest direction. But if you decide to use a different direction, by all means, as long as you represent, show the object in its most optimum, I would say, view orientation, that would be just fine. I think I have covered all of the necessary information for our lab session. So yeah, let's begin with our AutoCAD. So to those who haven't opened your AutoCAD, just open your AutoCAD and then we can begin. Okay. All right, everyone. As you can see, this is my AutoCAD. I have opened my template, and then of course, this is my title block. I have my, I would say, drawings projection symbol here. Again, in this case, projection symbol is not really needed, but why I decided, just for your information, why I decided to have all three, because if I decide to use a third angle, I can delete one, and if I use first angle, I can just delete one. As simple as that. So it's better for you to prepare like this. So there's a lot. easier for you to kind of like just delete instead of making a new one. Anyway, that's beside the point because we're gonna cover 3D modeling aspect of our in our lab, so might as well go to our model space and then begin drawing. All right, first thing first, when it comes to 3D modeling, there are two things that are well, actually there are more, but the first thing that I would like to highlight here is your view. Currently, you are viewing from the top. So you view from the top down. So here is basically your XY, what is it called? XY axis. So the one, an axis facing me, like moving towards me is Z direction. Now, you know what? To make it much, I would say clearer, I think I'm gonna turn on my grid. Okay, this is my grid. Okay, this is X, Y, I'll say axis, Z axis is coming towards me, and then I'm viewing from the Z direction. So what I see here is a 2D, is basically a 2D view of my model space. Now in here, if you click, you have many options. So you can view from top, bottom, left, right, front, back, south isometric, south, east isometric, whatever. So I'm gonna choose this one. So as you can see here, it shows all three dimension. Okay, this is why this is how the object will be represented in your data block later. That's the first one. The second one here is these are called a visual style. Okay, these are I would say view orientation. Okay, I would say or custom model views. I would consider this as a view orientation: top, side, right, left, uh, bottom, isometric, parallel perspective, what have you. So it allows you to view into from 2 dimension, one and 3 dimension. This is our view, say view orientation. The second one here is your visual style. Okay, it allows you. Okay, the one that I selected here is 2D wireframe. What does it mean? Your 3D object is basically represented by a line. All right, which I will show later. You have also a conceptual view, hidden view, realistic view, shaded edges. I know I'm just describing this, but later I will show you how it looks like. But before that, um, let's move on to the third thing. Okay, the third thing that I would like to highlight here is this option. These are called orbit. If you want to orbit here, if you click left click, now this what is it called? This my cursor changes. Now it means that the function is now active. So orbit basically allows you to move to change your view orientation. Um, from anywhere, any direction. Okay, why is it important? Personally, it allows me to have a peek. That's number one, at some features that are not visible using the conventional isometric view. Number two is allows me to kind of adjust my drawing later as well as provide a better view, I would say, when I'm drawing, when I'm preparing my 3D object. Yeah, I'm going to hit escape. All right, right now, okay, this one is called orbit. If you want to type, just type ORBIT, orbit, the same thing. So those are the three things. I will tell you why these are quite important. All right, I often like to turn off my grid, so I'm gonna turn it off. The first object that we're gonna prepare today is a cube. Now, cube is basically a box, but the length are the same length. So, to create a cube, just type box box. Okay, I don't really like to show where to choose from the menu ribbon. You can get the same command from the menu ribbon, but because I remember all of my command, at least the basic command, so I don't really need to have a menu ribbon here. That's number two. I like to have my drawing layout, drawing model space as big as possible. But anyway, so when you click box and then hit enter, right? Again, check your command message here. They will ask you to specify corner, first corner. So you click anywhere you want. I will click here, for example. Now, as you can see here, you have option to specify what is called corner or leg. I often prefer to choose to specify length. So type length. Now, obviously, I'm free to rotate anywhere I want, but I'm going to turn on this one. Okay, first thing first, I'm going to specify maybe x axis, x direction length. So what 110, all right? That's too long. So after that, they will ask you to specify width, all right? So which is 110 as well. Now we have option to go down or go up. I often prefer to go up on the positive Z direction because if you turn on your what is it called, if it's below, right? If you turn on your grid later, your grid will be above your object, which I don't really like that. But I turn on my grid, so it's fine. So here I will type down 110. So this is my cube. Okay, in here, right? In here, this is how it looks like in 2D wireframe. The cube here, they only show the lines that construct the cubes. Okay, okay, in 3D modeling, why 2D wireframe is important? It allows you to see, number one, um, the line behind, and also allows you uh, to connect to the end of the lines, to the middle of the lines, tangent, what is it called, perpendicular to the lines much easier as opposed to using other view style. Okay, another example is conceptual. This is how it looks like. Again, they show you like this solid object, but in this case, you don't see behind, right? That's a problem. So this I always keep changing between 2D wireframe and conceptual. This is how hidden looks like. This is how the realistic looks like. Let's say I change the colors into say maybe green colors, something like that. So stuff like that. And then let's say, for example, we're going to choose isometric. Okay, this is how it looks like in isometric view. All right. In this case, I'm going to show you why orbit here is quite important. Okay. Okay. Let's say I change to 2D wireframe. Now, as you can see here, now if I want to connect to the line behind the cube edges, right? In this case, under isometric view, you don't really know for sure that you're gonna all snap at these front edges or at the back edges. So if I use orbit, it allows me to have a peek at the uh, behind part of my 2D of my cubes. So that's the good thing about it. I'm gonna go to the isometric views, and then I'm gonna go back to a no, it's fine. I'm going to zoom out a bit. Okay, the next object that we're going to create is a box. So I'm going to create a box having around maybe 100 millimeters from the first cube. So let's say 100. I don't know whether that's good enough or not, but I think it's fine. All right, the box here, it is a rectangle. Oh, okay, it's a box, but in this case, the length, width, and then height are not the same at all. So the command is still box. Enter. Okay, specify the first point, first corner, if you will. And then my case, I will specify the length. Length here is probably what x-axis, which is 110. Y-axis, you are free to go from to here or to here. I don't really care. 150. And then height here is 200. Now this is your object. I'm going to delete this guideline. Might as well change the colors into say magenta perhaps, maybe red colors. The third one is cylinder. Again, cylinder is just a cylinder. Just type in your AutoCAD cylinder, and then they will ask you to specify a base point. But before that, I'm going to create a guideline, LINE. I'm going to probably put my cylinder in between these two boxes, so somewhere here. So type cylinder. Now, they will cylinder, you need to specify your circle first. So choose the center of my what is it called? Center of my line here as the center point of my circle. Click, specify the radius of 50, and then you have option to go down or go up. So go up by 150. Okay, this is my circles. I can delete this. After that, I probably will create a cone again. Maybe I will place them somewhere in here, perhaps. Let's say 100. So 100 millimeters away from the cubes. It doesn't really matter where. This point is going to introduce you with the concept of primitive, basic 3D object. It's a primitive object. That's a simple solid. So for to create a cone, just type CONE and specify your base point. Specify your radius, which is around 50, and then height. Go up or down. Doesn't really matter. Height is 130. Now this is my code. I'll probably change colors into say something else, maybe magenta perhaps. The next one is a sphere. A sphere is quite simple. I probably will create a sphere somewhere in here, maybe from here to here, say 150. So I'm going to prepare a sphere from 150 millimeters from the tip of the cone. So this is my center of my sphere. So type SPHERE. Center point of my sphere is here, and I make it bigger. So the radius of 40. Oh, it's quite small. That's fine. So this is my sphere. What else? And a pyramid. Okay, pyramid. Maybe I'll put them somewhere in here. PYRAMID. Okay, pyramid. In this case, I forgot to create a guideline. So type pyramid. LINE. I don't know where I'm supposed to put this. Let's say maybe somewhere in here. 150 from here. So the command is PYRAMID, pyramid. They will ask to specify your base point. Click. Now again, base is 70. Height is 120. Okay, this is my pyramid. The next one is wedge. Wedge is basically a triangle, extrude triangle, if you will. I might as well change colors. I don't know, maybe blue perhaps. This one's probably different colors. And I type line, just a guideline, maybe somewhere in here around 150, maybe 100. Now wedge, WEDGE, wedge. Now they will ask to specify first point or first corner. If you will click, and then I will specify length. So I will choose. Oh, it's going to that direction. Oh, that's fine. 70, and then the next one is 150, and then the third one is 125. Delete. I'm gonna change colors, properties, maybe yellow perhaps. And then of course the last one is torus, which is your what is it called? Which is your donut. All right, I'm gonna create a line first, LINE. Maybe somewhere let's see, somewhere here, around 150. Okay, so for torus, this type TORUS. All right. Now, torus is basically a circle in a sense. So click, you need to specify a center point, click. Now this is how big your donut is. So you need to specify the first radius is how big it is. So specify 80. Now the second radius here is how thick is your donut. So it is 30. Oh, so big. All right. But yeah, but whatever. Now I'm just gonna change colors. Maybe let's see, maybe gray colors. Oh, and then that's it. Maybe I'll go to the realistic view. So as you can see, um, this is how it looks like. Now, of course, it seems to be looking just fine. But again, if you choose orbit, right, can pretty much see whether it's fun or not. Okay, as you can see, the sphere is kind of like hovering above the first object, and then this object they kind of like uh, overlapping each other's and stuff like that. What I'm gonna do is I probably will move this a bit to the right, I would say. So what I'm gonna do is go back to a little southwest isometric. I'm gonna move this object MOVE, select my object, click, enter. My base point I choose here, maybe I put them somewhere, say 50 millimeters away, hoping that it's not overlapping anymore. I think it's fine. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose Southwest Isometric, and I'm going to go back to my layout. All right. I'm going to double click. I already have my viewport, so just type zoom, extend, E. Now this is from the top view. As you can see, this is top view. So what you can do is move your cursor somewhere here. You have a 2D wireframe. Top, choose Southwest Isometric. Maybe I'll choose, let's see, 2D wireframe, change to a realistic view. And then you can adjust your drawing. At this point, the scaling is not really that important. Just try to utilize the whole drawing space so that it's become nice. Now in this case, I'm gonna delete my what is it called my symbol, projection symbol, first angle, third angle, and that's it. That is it for my first task. Now for my second task, it's quite simple. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to a top view. All right. First thing first, probably I will draw somewhere in here. Yeah, somewhere in here. Now I'm going to change to the wireframe. As I mentioned earlier, these are applied object where you need to prepare a 2D object first. So just prepare whatever the 2D drawing following the dimension that I have shown in the slides. All right, I'm going to do this fairly quickly. So type line LINE. So click. I'm going to go down by 12. I'm going to go right by 12. Oops. And then I'm going to go down by 12. It's quite small, though, but it's fine. And I'm going to go left by 24. I'm going to go up by 10. I'm going to go left by 52. And go then down by 10. And then 24. Um, Actually, you can do the same thing using mirror. It's the same thing, but whatever. 12. And then 12. Enter. And then 12. Enter. And then close the loop. Okay, this is the first object. The second object here is all right, so type line, click here to here is 60, going up by 42, 42, oops, wait, no, sorry, line, 60, 42, all right, and a circle. I'm going to click, specify my radius of 30, or you can simply click to this second point here. Hit spacebar to recall back my previous command. Click radius of 15. And as usual, delete the line that you don't want. And then you can trim this, TRIM, enter, enter, and then there you have it. So prepare these two objects first. All right, next, I'm going to switch to my isometric view or 3D view, if you will. Okay, the first command that I'm going to show you is called extrude. Extrude is basically you create a 3D object from this 2D object. So the 3D object will have the same cross section throughout the Z direction. Same goes with this one. For this one, I'm gonna show another command called press move. The same thing, but which with slight differences. All right. Technically, you should join this object, but I'm not going to join it first just to prove just to show you something. Okay, this object, this enclosed, I would say, border is a boundary, if you will, is consists of one, two, three, four, five, six different objects, but they are connected to each other, forming a close boundary or close border, if you will. Now, what happens if you exclude this object? Will it become a 3D object or will it become something else? So here, this type extrude, extrude. Now, they will ask you to select object. I will select all. Enter. Now, I will extrude by 160. Enter. Now, this is my object. But as you can see, if you see from the, let's say, conceptual view, right? Now, this is not a solid object. These are basically an object having the same shapes, but they have a holes. It's become a shell in a sense. So what really happened here is, now if you now if you ex now the object no the closed boundary is made from many lines. So each line is basically a single object. Now, if you extrude a line in a sense, although they form enclosed boundary, because they are not joined together, they will become a plane. So I have to remember that. Make sure if you want to create a solid object, you need to make sure to join your line. So that's the first thing. Another thing is um, um, there are a lot of situations where later, I guarantee this will happen to several of you. Um, let's say, for example, you said you told me that you have joined your line, right? You told me you have joined your line. Where, for example, you know what? Let me undo first. So remember, if you extrude a line, even though one line they become a plane. Now let's say so you have to join this line. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to join. Type join. Now in this case, I select first and then type join, or you can just click join, type join, and then select object. It's the same thing. Now as you can see, when I click one, the whole object become the whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't know, maybe 8, 12 object become one single object. They become a polyline. So these are 12 line. When they convert, when they join, they become polylines. Become one single object. Now, when you extrude a single object, then it become a solid object. Now, there might be a situation, I guarantee this will happen, where you have joined the object, but it still become a it still become a plane. Now, there's only one reason. Now, one single. It's just that your line is not connected properly. Just because it looks fine here, right? Maybe if you zoom in, like really close enough, it's not even connected. It's become you join because it's not connected, right? It become one single object, but it's not a fully enclosed. It become a line. So when you extrude, they become a plane. So you have to check your line should be connected well. That's number one. Number two, there's also a situation where you have created all, which are fine, but then when you want to extrude, cannot extrude, right? Oftentimes there's only one reason. You may have intersecting line. Okay, for example, in here, right, it may sounds okay. It may sounds it looks fine, right? Maybe for example, you don't trim them correctly. So for example, let's say you zoom in, oh, as it turns out, I have a bit of extra line somewhere here. So you have to check your 2D drawing. If you're gonna extrude your 2D drawing, definitely there's something wrong with your 2D drawing. Anyway, I have joined this object. So what I'm going to do is type extrude, and then you hit select your object, enter. Now you extrude up by 160. Now the second object here, you also need to join. Select all, type join. Now in here, one object, two object. So even though I select all, one object will be discarded from joining each other because they are not even connected. So it is what it is. Now in this case, what happened if you select extrude, right? You have to remember my object has a hole. This become a hole. Now, if you select object and you extrude, right? For example, click here. And let's say I choose one, extrude. Then I extrude by 76, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 76. Now, what happened here is you only create sorry, you only create, you don't create a hole, right? There's number one. Okay, I'm going to undo. Okay, what happened if I extrude both? Now, seems correct, right? But technically, if you see, uh, what you create is you create a two object. One is a, okay, let's say I delete this guy, right? Okay, one is the cylinder because you extrude a circle. The other one is the first one, right? So, okay, what if I delete this? If you delete this object, you just leave with the first object. Also not correct. Alright, there are, again, as I mentioned earlier, there are many ways of getting the same thing. What you can do is you can simply use subtract, right? So basically, what I do is I subtract this minus this. Basically, will give you a same object with a hole. For example, subtract. Okay, select object. Which one do you want to subtract? This. Enter. Okay, which one do you want to minus with? So it should be. I don't know whether I can get. I cannot get it. Let me change to the wire frame. All right. Let's for example subtract sub. The first option is just to subtract. Subtract. Choose object. This is our object. I want to create a hole. So this object minus a cylinder. Enter. Minus a cylinder. Enter. Then what you have is a let's see, is an object with the holes. Now that's the first option. But I don't want to show you that because this is a first 3D lab. Let me undo. Let's see. Okay, the option that I'm going to show is called press pull. PRESSPULL. It's kind of like a extrude, but it identifies a region in between two things. So I move like so here, somewhere in between the object. Not one should be highlighting two. Click, go up. So 76. Now you're going to create the same thing. Let's see, conceptual. Now you're going to create the same thing. Subtract also fine. Press will also fine depending on your preference. All right. Okay, next, I need to stack this object to this object. But first thing first, this object are oriented incorrectly, I would say. So how can I rotate the object, right? So again, just type 3D rotate, 3D rotate. Now select your object. I will select all, enter. Now the kind of like a nucleus kind of thing will appear. So I'm going to put somewhere in here. Where is my base point? Now in this case, I'm going to lay it flat, right? So I need to choose a correct axis. So in here, if you move to the right one, these are the axis, these are the axis, these are the axis. So I recommend you to try and error. Uh, Technically, if you can imagine, you can pretty much tell which axis should you choose. But if you're not really that familiar, I recommend you to do try and error just to see if you choose a different axis, where will be rotating. But in this case, the correct one will be this one, this axis. So 90 degree angle. All right, now it's getting rotated. Okay, these are fine. What I'm gonna do is probably I will rotate this part. These are fine, correct orientation, but these are not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this one. So type 3D rotate again. Select object. These are my object. Maybe the nucleus part, I put them here. Now in this case, I'm going to choose a blue one. Click 90 degree. Now these are the same orientation as this. The next thing is I'm going to stack this guy to here. So of course, I have to move this to here. I'm going to change to the wavelength. Now, the command is move, MOVE. Select your object, click enter spacebar. I'm going to choose this as my base point, and then I'm going to move them here. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, uh, Now, as you can see, these 2D objects still there. Okay, one of the differences between press pull and extrude is that press pull still leave the 2D drawing. Extrude does not. So that's the only difference. But you can just simply delete this object. It's not really matter. Now I have these two objects, but you have to remember these are two object. The actual object is one object. So the last thing is how can I create the what is called the triangle thing because it is tangent to the surface. Again, they probably have they probably have many ways of doing the same thing, but this is my way. So I'm going to change to the wireframe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type line line. First thing first, I'm going to create a guideline from here to here 32. Okay, why this? This is basically my line which I will shift the triangle to here. All right, remember that. Okay, just type line. How to create a triangle thingy? Okay, these are quite no, actually it's not that difficult. So I'm going to choose this line. So, ideally, I should choose somewhere in the middle, right? Because my triangle thing is in the middle. But again, I don't have a tangent here. So the first thing first, I need to have my tangent. I need to make sure I connect to a correct tangent, which is only available here. As you can see, this is my tangent. Click. I go somewhere here. That's number one. Number two, I just simply go as long as I want. Click. And I hit line. And then where's the end of my line here? Wait, too much line. So line. And then let's see, where's my line? Okay, this is my line. I connect, go all the way down. Maybe somewhere here. You see, there's a right single click. Basically, what I did was this line is connected to this line. What is it called? And they are perpendicular to each other. And what I'm gonna do next is I'm just simply gonna let's see, move here. There's a if you move your cursor here, there's a stretch, right? Click. You're gonna make it shorter, but make sure it's connected to this guy. All right, what I have here is one line, two line, three line. You know what? I'm going to change color so that's easier for you to see. Maybe a red color. Okay, these are the lines. So I don't know whether you can see. You see, these are the lines. But again, next I'm going to join my line here, here, and then here. Type join. After that, you type extrude, extrude, and then these are the object I will extrude. Enter. Now I will extrude by 12 millimeters. So type 12. And lastly, I'm going to move this object 32 millimeters from the left. So type move. Okay, my base point is here, and then you move it. There's going to be, you remember the guideline that I have prepared earlier? So this is my guideline. Click. I can remove this guideline. Now, these are my object. Let's change to conceptual. Now, essentially, these are three objects. One object, two object, three object. So how can you combine them into one object? The command is union. Okay, so select first object, second object, third object, and then enter, it become a single object. Now I'm going to change color maybe. Let's see, magenta perhaps. Oh, these are my object. So, and then next is, I'm going to create a copy of my layout. Create a copy, hit OK. Layout here, click, zoom out. Okay, these are my object. Arrange them nicely. Maybe I change to perspective view, perhaps. Oops, probably too big. Okay. And there you go. And then you can just simply export to PDF. And then that's pretty much it. That's your work. I think I have covered all. So this is how you do a applied 3D object. These are a simple object, nothing that complex. These are primitive object. It's not even complex at all. Often you don't even use this. Oftentimes you're gonna prepare a slightly more complicated object. I think that's pretty much it. Let's go back to our presentation to conclude. All right, that'll be all for me. I hope you like the videos. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you after semester break. All right, bye bye, and have a very nice day.